Good evening and welcome to the Evening News' Weekend Review for the week ending Saturday, February 16, 2019. I'm Samuel Fanfrey. Thanks so much for joining us. For the next 30 minutes, we will recap some of the top stories that were featured during the past week. We begin by telling you that even as the University of Guyana has implemented enhanced security at its Turkine campus, a 25-year-old student who was charged for allegedly issuing bomb threats against the institution was remanded to prison when she made her first court appearance on Monday. Inala Dalrymple filed that report.
Shaliza Diane Jaffarali, a sales consultant, appeared before the chief magistrate and denied the charge, which stated that on Tuesday, February 5, 2019, by means of a public telecommunications system, she caused anxiety to the students and staff of the University of Guyana by transmitting a false message, knowing it seemed to be false. The Evening News understands that a student is only being charged in connection with the threats at UG. Defense attorney Lachmi Rahmat, in a bail submission, told the court that her client had completely denied such allegations and intends to vigorously defend herself. Rahmat also presented to the court a printed and stamped copy of a list of generated phone numbers that are similar to that of her clients. However, police prosecutor opposed bail to the student on the grounds that she may tamper with witnesses as well as evidence that were generated during police investigation. The prosecution also refused bail, stating that the matter is a concern of public interest. Further, the court was informed that there are also 4 outstanding statements into the matter. Attorney Rahamat, after listening to the police submission, noted that the police are in custody of her client's telecommunication devices and therefore would not be able to tamper with witnesses or evidence if granted bail. Desperate for bail to be granted, she also informed the court that her client has been cooperating with investigators from the inception and has been incarcerated for more than 72 hours. Nevertheless, the prosecution's submission was upheld and the UG student was remanded to prison. She is expected to make her next court appearance at the Sparendam Magistrates Court on February 18, 2019. For the Evening News, Yanala Dalrymple.
Thanks, dear Yanala. On Tuesday, we reported that in the wake of an avalanche of criticism over the contract it negotiated with U.S. supermajor ExxonMobil, the Guyana government has taken steps to ensure future agreements with oil companies have better terms. More, it is Divina Samaru reports.
Head of the Department of Energy, Dr. Mark Bino, revealed at a press conference yesterday that a new template for oil contracts, also known as production sharing agreements, has been developed.
Going forward, and we have a lot more knowledge now than we had then, we are able to have conditions that are a lot more favorable to Guyana, which is what we've been saying. So from that perspective, there will be improvements going forward.
Energy advisor to the department, Matthew Wilkes, said the new template will address concerns about ring fencing. This is to ensure that companies like ExxonMobil, which has multiple wells in the Stabroek block, cannot transfer cost oil claims from one well to the other. He added that the new PSA template will help to mitigate avenues by which companies can reduce their taxes. On the issues of royalties, Wilkes said the department is yet to decide which format it will take.
Royalty is often a biddable term. So when you have license rounds in many locations which have production sharing agreements, that is sort of a square box to be filled in by companies, and they compete. So rather than stipulating royalty levels, you let them compete against each other to offer royalty levels. That's a choice that we have to make as to whether we have that fixed or whether that becomes a biddable term.
The energy advisor cautioned against too much tweaking of the model to the point where the terms repel rather than attract investors. He stressed that the right balance has to be found, otherwise investors will take their money elsewhere. Divina Samaru reporting for the Evening News.
Representatives from the U.S.-based Carter Center met with opposition leader Bar Jagdeo, along with opposition members of Parliament Juan Echel and Priya Manichand, who raised their concerns about government's posture on the holding of elections. Vanu Manichand filed this report on Wednesday.
The Carter Center team, which comprised of Associate Director Brett Lacey and Legal and Electoral Advisor Ann Marlborough, is in Guyana on a fact-finding mission to ascertain the country's preparedness to host general and regional elections following the December 21, 2018 passage of a motion of no confidence against the coalition government. Jagdeo detailed to this newscast what he told the visiting officials about his party's perspective on the elections.
We welcome the meeting, and we're pleased that they've shown continued interest in the governance issues in Guyana, particularly free and fair elections. We also use the opportunity to outline our perspective on how the matters are evolving.
According to the opposition leader, he made it clear that the APNU-AFC coalition seems hell-bent on violating the Constitution.
There is almost no respect for the court decision, and they're operating in a manner and have made public pronouncements that it's business as usual. There's been no good faith effort made by this government to meet the constitutional deadline, and that they are pushing us into a constitutional crisis once the March 19 deadline expires.
Since the passage of the no-confidence motion, the opposition has been reaching out to a number of international organizations to update them on the political situation in Guyana. As such, Jagdeo said this visit by the Carter Center demonstrates that Guyana and events happening here are being watched closely. In fact, international pressure has already mounted, with the United Nations Resident Coordinator Mikiko Tanaka recently urging the state to demonstrate its integrity and respect the Constitution. Reporting for the Evening News, Fanu Manikchand.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back for more of the Evening News' Week in Review.